there, Dr. Charlene here. And in this video, I want to cover a topic that I hear all the time. I see it in the groups, and I see a lot of people struggling with this, including my patients and the members in my online program. And the problem is about finding a doctor who is going to really support you through your Hashimoto's diagnosis, your journey, and how to even get better. And the unfortunate truth is that, at least here in the US, that's really all I can speak for because this is where I live, but I've heard that this is a problem in other countries as well. And I do work with folks internationally on their Hashimoto's. So here in the US, the doctors they're really stretched. So there's a few things going on here. It's kind of like peeling back the layers of an onion. And so the doctors are really just overburdened. There aren't a lot of them. Many of them have way too many patients. So many people are feeling unwell these days, and the doctors just simply don't have a lot of time. And I've even heard from a friend of mine who she's a PA, a physician's assistant, which means that she has a lot of scope within her practice, very similar to an MD. And basically, what she told me is that it boils down to the fact that she cares for her patients and she really wants to help them. But the insurance company reimbursement is so low that it's just not worth her time. She would rather get home to her family and spend time with her kids than researching something for her patient because she's just getting paid so little to do that extra effort, really. And so there's a lot of things involved here. It's the time, it's the compensation to the doctors, it's the fact that they just don't learn about healing. Really, they know they're such smart people. They know all of the mechanisms of what's going wrong in your body, but they're not taught in school certain tools that are actually going to help you heal, get into remission, and feel better. What they're taught is how to shell out drugs or recommend surgery because that's all the time they have. And with all these new drugs continually coming out day after day, it takes so much of their time to just keep up with what's new, what's safe, what's not safe. And they don't have time to dive into something like herbal medicine or lifestyle changes or dietary changes. And so, my recommendation when looking for a doctor, because you do, especially with Hashimoto's and certain other conditions as well, it is important, at least for a temporary period, to take medication. And so when you're looking for a doctor, do it as if it's an interview. Do it as if you're interviewing them for the job. Are they going to fit with you? And so some things you want to double check on are they going to run the labs that you're requesting and the ones to get the full big picture of what's going on with your thyroid? And so that's more than just TSH, free T3, and free T4. There's actually 10 markers that should get run. And I know I have another video and a podcast episode on that. So I'll let you find that to dive into what those markers are, what you should be asking for. But sit down with your doctor and say, will you run all of these markers every single time we meet? And if they say no, then tell them they're fired. And this is going to take time. You're probably going to run into some of those docs that don't want to play ball, and that's okay. Take a little bit of your time and find that right person. And there are a lot of doctors out there who are working online perhaps, and you can actually work with them across, state lines if they're licensed to do that, and not have to be constrained by some of these kind of insurance constraints and the medical model constraints. And so you might have to think outside the box here. And you might also have to fork over some money. What I've found is the good ones, the ones who really do care and are willing to take the time and do the effort that's required to get you to where you want to go, they're leaving the insurance model, meaning you pay them probably a discounted cash price. But when you're used to paying a $20 copay or a $5 copay or a $50 copay, having to pay a doctor $300 or $350 for a visit seems pretty astronomical. And I want to leave you with this idea that my physical therapist and I were talking about. So I do PT to manage some of my health concerns, and she and I were talking, and she said to me, we have no problem spending 40 or $50,000 on a car, but to even spend a quarter of that on our body, the vessel that carries us throughout our entire lives, we're not willing to spend. And so if you can start to imagine being able to spend 5,000, 10,000, yes, these are significant amounts of money, but if you can think about spending that kind of money on your body, on your wellness, and finding that right person who is going to work with you and get you to the health that you want to experience, and possibly even get you to a point where you can't even fathom could happen, could be possible, that investment could be so worth it. And it might be worth getting a little lesser car so that you can get your body dialed in a little bit better. All right, I am Dr. Charlene. I run the Recovery Blueprint, and perhaps I am that right person to help guide you to where you want to go. I have a free group that you can join as a guest for a short time and see if we're a good fit. If that works out for you, then I would love to see your application come through. All right, the link to join is in the bottom of this video. As always, be well.